Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of I don't know what this is called. We got an update or Snowfall Cast. I am your host, Dana, joined by Mr. Richard Bailey Jr. How are you doing today?
Doing pretty good, Dana. What's up, listeners and viewers?
Wonderful. Well, we have big news. Snowfall fans, get ready to snow because you guys are getting a spinoff. I saw this was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited and so happy for you guys. For those who don't know, the Coalition, Richard and Gary, heavily covered Snowfall. This is the FX show that was basically one of the best TV shows of the last 10 years, comparable to maybe The Wire. This is where we get that big meme of bodies, bodies, bodies. They're all dead. Click, click, boom. That is still very popular on the TikToks. So, first off, I want to know from Richard, because you being a huge fan, what were your immediate thoughts when you're like, we're getting a spinoff? Because the idea of having a spinoff was around for a while, but we actually have details with the plot, actors, descriptions, and everything else. So was this another like, here we go again, or was you like, yeah, here we go?
Okay, thank you for providing that the background. Yeah, the show that me and Gary used to we called it Snowfall Aftermath, where we basically were recapping the episodes. We started doing that with, I believe, season 4, and we finished it right all the way up until season 6. So yeah, it was a phenomenal show. It was up there competing with, I would say, on the same level of The Wire to a degree, Power, but it's still, anytime we did a review of that show, it's just like the way they produce the show, shoot the show, the cinematography, the soundtrack, that is what separated it from some of the Power shows. Because as you guys know, some of the Power spinoffs, not a huge fan, but hey, they're still good shows and entertaining to watch. But this show just felt like it was on a different level. So if you have not watched Snowfall, I would strongly recommend you check out the show, or you can definitely check out the discussions that Gary and I had. But in terms of this spinoff, let me say this first and foremost. I very much like, I believe it's Gail Bean and what is the young man's name? Is it Jonathan? The actor's name?
Isaiah
Damon.
John.
There it is, Isaiah John. Okay, I very much like those two characters. For those who don't know, Isaiah John is from Atlanta. I've actually seen this guy when I went to the mall a couple of times, and one time I was there. He was there shopping with his family for the holidays. Obviously, I'm not one of those people where I see someone, I have to go up and say hi to them. No, that's private time with his family, but I knew that was him because I know he is from Atlanta. So I'm glad that he had an opportunity to come back and be a part of what they were doing with him and Wanda on the show. And for those who wants more of a background as to what these characters have, obviously his character Leon on Snowfall, this was Franklin's best friend, his ride or die best friend. And as you saw that show, you saw that Leon went through a complete change on the show. You know, this is a character that was very heavily into gangs, very, very violent. And then, of course, he got brought into what Franklin was doing with the drug business. So obviously, he's gone through a lot of things. There's some pretty significant things that happened, I believe, around season 4, where he actually he was in a feud with somebody else, and unfortunately, a kid ended up getting killed in the crossfire. That kind of changed his perspective. So he's trying to be a reformed individual. As for Wanda, his girlfriend, she also was a part of this whole thing with the drug business, but she also got hooked on the product. And what you saw as a fan was her going through, because there was a lot of times in that season, we also saw Melanie, who was the girl next door / love interest of Franklin for a period. She also got into this stuff just by, because the drugs were spreading in that time when they were talking about the storytelling. She ended up using it as well, getting hooked for a period, and they had an episode where she got into it with Wanda, with the fighting and stuff back and forth. But pretty much Wanda is a character that has come full circle as well, because she went through all that stuff with the drugs. She is now going down a different path. And I believe this particular show is going to focus on the 90s in the hip hop scene around that time. So to answer your question, your original question, Dana, what were my thoughts when I heard that this got announced? Well, I will say, again, I'm happy for the people involved in the project. I know some of the original Snowfall people that worked on that show will be a part of this as well. But I have so many questions about how this particular show is going to evolve and be different from what they've done with Snowfall. Obviously, I think it's going to focus heavily on the music scene, all of the stuff that was going on at that time, the dangers, but also the fact that both these characters, they have a past, and is probably going to be playing around with the fact of, well, is she going to be tempted to go back on drugs? Is Leon going to be tempted to get back into, because he has a violent side? So I understand that particular angle, but I also think these characters have completely evolved past that. So I do want to see what they will bring to the table. I will say this right now, though. While I am excited, while I do plan to check out the show, I do not know if it's going to draw as much attention as Snowfall. And let me explain why that is, because the ensemble on that show was unmatched. Armin Joseph as Uncle Jerome, fantastic actor, fantastic performances. Of course, we know Franklin, because one thing that I have seen people already asking, is Franklin going to return? Can we possibly see him again on this particular show? I don't know if that's going to happen, because Damson Idris is blowing up right now. And I think you also know, Dana, that this guy is heavily rumored to become the next Black Panther. So I don't think he's going to have time to come back to this show. I mean, he said goodbye to the character when the show ended, and he had a very long post on his Instagram about what it meant to play the character in closing that chapter of his life. So I don't think he's going to return. I know some people, but that's what I just want people to have their expectations, that you could see certain people show up, but Damson Idris is someone I do not expect to be a part of this in any capacity whatsoever. There are other characters that Leon has had connection to in the show. I think those characters could show up. But overall, I am curious to see what they have in mind for the show. I just want to see what are they going to do to make it different and stand out from what they've done with Snowfall, because people are going to make those comparisons. But I do have faith that they're going to put together something pretty cool, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, as you kind of stated before, this is a show that is going to take place in the 90s, but it is directly after that very end scene where you see Franklin and he ends up turning into his father with the bottle. It's soon after the end of the original series, where it has a recovering addict. So we're going to have Wanda, the recovering addict now, strives to take West Coast rap mainstream. So instead of, obviously, drugs will be, lingering in the background, because it's the 90s, the environment, it's the atmosphere. It's mainly going to focus on music and, of course, the fashion. So if you like the little end credit scene of Sinners with them hoop earrings and that little lollipop and that gold chain where Haley Steinfeld was dressed, as well as Michael B. Jordan, think of that. That's part of some of the fashion. Or think of Raising Canaan, because that's the 90s as well. So it's going to focus, like I stated, on West Coast rap. It will be much better than what BMF. BMF never got the opportunity to go to West Coast rap or even East Coast rap. Any kind of rap. Maybe if we focus that instead, we would have had a show not canceled. But anyway, sorry. So, as we also know, in the 90s, what popped off was the big gang wars. So we have gang wars on top of record labels trying to exploit hip-hop culture for their own gain. Think of Suge Knight dangling Vanilla Ice over that balcony. Okay? Everybody's just being exploited. And so we have the recovering addict is, Wanda. And as you focused on Leon, the best friend of Franklin, they are now a couple who eventually gets married. Or were they married on the series? Did they get married?
Yeah, they did get married at the end, towards the end.
So now it's about, yeah, so now they're married. So it's like life as a married couple, her trying to stay straight and sober, him going into, everybody's focused on music and the culture. Meanwhile, in the background, we have the gang wars. Remember the Bloods, the Crips, when I was a kid, it was just called the Latino gangs. I don't think it was like a name. I'm not into the gang thingy. I'm sorry. I'm not. I'm sorry. But anyway, we have some clips. Okay, so forgive me, FX released a statement. And it says this new series takes us back to one of the most formative years in music with the birth of the West Coast rap revolution. Okay, we worked with Malcolm Spellman. Malcolm Spellman was one of the creators of, remember Winter Soldier, Falcon and Winter Soldier?
Mm-hmm.
Remember that the very first Disney Plus show that popped off? That's him. And then he did the Captain America, the bad one, the black one, part 2. But anyway, I got focused. Okay, we worked with Malcolm Spellman on the documentary series. Remember Hip Hop Uncovered? And he has an encyclopedic knowledge of this material. So, boom. This is a breakout starring role for Gail Bean. As you expressed, she will be playing Wanda. Okay. As well as Isaiah John, who is terrific, along with the ensemble cast. And then they talked about how, Snowfall was successful, and they are hoping to kind of dig into that success and expand the story. So if we get, this being successful, think of it more like Snowfall going completely Power Universe. So we have the Snowfall universe, essentially. And we do have Asante Blackk is going to be a part of it. Peyton Alex Smith and Simmie Sims III is going to also be a part of the cast. So that is kind of like the big breaking news that it is so far. We don't have any of the photos yet in terms of set photos. We don't know who the directors are for each episode, but they are keeping it obviously in the same Snowfall universe, and it will take place right after that scene. So I kind of like that concept because it's not even like, I know people are very focused on Franklin, but kind of like in general, there's more to life than just Franklin. It's about that environment and the people's lives that he impacted and he touched. If he hasn't gone into the drug in the industry, would Wanda have been addicted? Probably not. You would know more than me. So now, no, well, I don't know.
That's well, the thing is, yeah, that's a good point. I mean, she was working in there helping to put together the product. So this is how eventually she got hooked. I think either way, she probably would. It's a chance that she would have gotten it because it was widespread. At some point, she would have maybe got access to it because Leon was also working to help that business run successfully. So it's a possibility, but no, continue.
No, so like basically that's kind of one of the big main things over there is like what is going to happen to Wanda, and now that Franklin is no longer, he's alive but he's not alive. What happens to life afterwards? What happens to them with relying on each other? Will they become too codependent? I don't know. Will Wanda relapse and then Leon has to leave? Or will Leon start going on a shooting spree? What happens if he's not able to get the artist that he wants? Or what happens when he does get the artist? We all want to be producers and rap stars, but can we handle it? So those are kind of like the big what if questions that I hope we get to see when it comes to this series. Is there anything that you're looking forward to see? And then more of like any pop-up surprises? Because you're deeply embedded in knowing who the characters are.
Yeah, I definitely want to see them, I think, invest more in showing how they have grown as characters. One thing that I do know, what we recall about the show, is that when Wanda became an addict, she was isolated and separated from everyone else. But yet, every time Leon saw her, he still had care and concern for her. And eventually, you know, when she did get clean, they did start over again. That was good to see. So that's why I don't know if they're going to go back into that completely. But I do see them going into the whole thing with, because the gang thing is there. Because again, the little girl that unfortunately lost her life in this whole thing with Leon, he ended up eventually making up with the father. And that's played by I don't have the actor's name right off the, you know, I don't have his information right in front of me. But he played Stacy in the Wood. If you remember who Stacy is, that same actor, he pretty much is that character. He can absolutely. You said no. The you know, the movie The Wood with what is it? Richard T. Jones was in it. Mekhi Phifer. It's a couple of different people were in that. Maybe not Mekhi Phifer. Like I said, I don't have the name in front of me right now.
Sean Nelson?
Sean Nelson. Is that the name? I have to look it up.
He was the main war dude. We have to look it up because that was like 80 years ago.
No, yeah, he played he was the brother, the overprotective brother of the girl that Mike was trying to get with. Okay. And he was, again, his name is Stacy. He was in the gang type of stuff. So, but his character on Snowfall is, again, he also is a reformed, he's trying to change his ways, because initially what happened on that show is that when the daughter was a casualty of this fallout, pretty much his wife was the one that wanted to go after and take out, get rid of Leon, take everybody that out that was responsible. Eventually she did get taken out. But the thing is that he had a point where he obviously wanted to get revenge on Leon, but it was still a little hesitant to do it. But they had their moment where they came to an understanding, and Leon acknowledged that he apologized profusely about what happened. They came to an understanding. That's why I don't know if I could see that character showing up again, because again, the gang activity, like, one thing that I did like about Snowfall is that, yeah, they focused on the drugs and just how horrible it impacted and destroyed everything. But the gang stuff, they didn't touch on that too heavily. So this show is an opportunity for them to expand upon that. Yes, you did see that there were people that were taken out because of gang violence, but they didn't go deep into that because there was still a war between what was happening on the street with the drugs. So they have an opportunity to dive into that a lot deeper with this show. Aside from that, I do want to see Leon and Wanda, how they grow as characters, because one thing that they could touch upon is, because Wanda was always she was high a lot. She was an addict. I would like to see how that translates to her creativity in terms of her thinking about creating music. That's one thing we didn't really see in the show. We didn't see that she had any type of music background, none of that stuff. So that's why I want to see how they're going to translate that, because I kind of think if you go through certain experiences, that can help to motivate in terms of you creating something that you want to share with others, whether it's a story or music or whatever. So I want to see how they're going to play that angle, because we didn't really get a feel for her doing any type of music stuff in the original show. So I do want to see where they're going with that. But overall, I think obviously the people who love Snowfall will be interested in the show, probably going to have a ton of questions. And again, I do want to see when they drop a trailer. Only thing I know is that they said this is coming out next year. There wasn't no date or anything yet. So definitely want to see more information. But I'm intrigued, because I do want to see what they have in store. And again, Snowfall was a great show. So I have no doubt this show will be great too. I just want to see what their entire plan is for the show, because I want to see if it catches on just as much as the original Snowfall show did.
So DeAndre Bounds, because it was driving me crazy.
There you go. That's him.
I would have never guessed that. I think, wasn't he one of the actors from, he did a movie that was so traumatic? It was a
Yes.
sexual assault scene in a prison, and he never recovered from it.
Yeah, that's the same actor. That's him. That's the same actor. The character he played on the show was a character that was also out of his mind. You know, he had gone through some stuff, but he was trying to change his ways, similar to Leon. But when he got violent, he was incredibly violent. Whenever he got violent, and you saw that, he was incredibly violent. So I don't know if he's returning. I mean, he hasn't been in too many projects. He was in that show. I don't know what he's been in since. Well, yeah. I know that. But what I'm saying is that, you know, since the Snowfall show, I haven't seen him in any other projects. So I would think that he could be a part of this. Since they told that story between him and Leon in the original show, he could show up at some point in this show, maybe a cameo or something. I have no idea, but we'll have to wait and see what the overall plan is for that. But again, I think it's more so about seeing how the characters grow. And again, the challenge is, I already know they're going to be tempted to revisit some of this stuff with the addiction and going back to how things were. But I'm hoping that they evolve past that, and that there is something else that will make the show exciting as aside from just that. But we'll see what happens.
We shall see. It's interesting, and then I look forward to how they're going to do the music aspect of it. You know, Disney has a lot of money. Are we going to replicate artists that we already know? Because from that understanding, that's where Ice-T, NWA, Nas was not in West Coast, but the people, Snoop Dogg, Nate Dogg, a lot of the dogs who are over on the West Coast. So I'm just kind of wondering, are we going to see, you know, I don't know, actor Jonathan Majors, just throwing it out there, not saying that it's him, as I don't know, Nate Dogg or something, or are they going to just be different rappers, or how deeply involved in the music, or are they going to be artists we never heard of with like music that we know in the back?
That is that's a good point. Let me just say this: if they decide to have people come in as actors portraying these rappers, I really do hope they watch BMF and learn what not to do, because I still remember when they had Tupac actor on that BMF show. I said, "Who the hell is this? This is not the Tupac that I know," and that's why I say they need to be careful if they're going to do that. Like, sometimes if you could just get the rights to the music, you can play the music on the radio, whatever, that's good enough. But if they are going to actually have an actor or actors come in there and portray those characters, they need to do a good job of casting, because again, they don't want to look silly. And I know people will be clowning them if they did that, because people definitely clown BMF when they saw some of that Tupac character. They said, "Who the hell is this?" So they got to be careful with that. But yeah, they definitely should have some of that music in there. The original Snowfall had phenomenal music in those episodes. So I don't think there'll be any issues using that music. All I'm saying though is if they portrayed those rappers, they got to do their research and make sure that they are well represented, because otherwise there might be some bad responses to that.
Are you saying you don't want Carisha to come in and play a rapper from the West Coast?
Oh no, I'm good on that. You know, maybe they will bring in Ice Cube's son to play Ice Cube, but I have no idea.
But he's from the East. Wasn't NWA? And I'm getting, for some, one thing to know about me is I don't know my geography, and I'm dyslexic, so I get West and East differently. So yes, I somehow thought because O'Shea Jackson was so embedded in New York that that his daddy is from New York, but no, NWA is West Coast. So O'Shea Jackson to me would be the only viable choice that I can think of at the top of my head. I don't like him as a person, but as an actor, he's great.
Yeah, he played his father before, so if they had him making an appearance as him, that's totally fine. They can have somebody come in as Easy, just like they did in the movie Straight Outta Compton. But again, like I said, it's if they do that, they just got to make sure it's the characters are well represented, because I'm sure that the family of those rappers, those who either are here or are no longer here, if it's not done right, they may not like that, and they may be getting some backlash from that. So they got to be careful with that. But the music, I have no doubt that they'll have a great soundtrack on this show, because the music was always great on the Snowfall show. They're playing old classics that, you know, back in the day, stuff that my parents and grandparents used to listen to. I'm like, oh, but I know that music because I listen to all types of music. But yeah, I have no doubt the music will be on point. That's one thing I know for sure.
I agree with that. It's going to be very good. And I think this is a great way, if done right, to carry on the legacy of John Singleton. So
yes,
I applaud the boys in the hood in there. So I like it. I'm excited for what could happen. You would have to fill me in on everything, because all I know is Snowfall is the bodies. But exceptional acting. I wouldn't mind Franklin. You know, here's the thing with Franklin. I'm torn. I genuinely don't want to see him again, because I think that story was done so well, and that ending was in a bow. You tied it up, you put it in a bow, and now we bury it, and it's gone. So I don't want to see Franklin ever again. You can maybe say his name, because again, it literally takes place right after. So I'm okay with saying the name, but I don't want him to ever appear again on screen. And plus, we're getting an F1 sequel. And I always stated that I wanted my sequel to actually be focused on Damson Idris. He was already in there as well. I want more. I want Damson Idris, and I wanted Damian. I think his name is Damian Lewis. Damian Lewis, I think, is his first name, but Hamilton Lewis, sorry. He was the actual race car driver.
Yes.
In the movie. I so wanted a movie of that. Like, we love you, Brad Pitt. Not really, because you're terrible. But I want that. Well, so give me my F1 sequel with my boy.
I would love to see that. I'm pretty sure you know that Brad Pitt is probably a reason why they said, yeah, we need to do a sequel. So they will want him to be a part of this in some capacity. Since the ending of that movie was going into him now doing this other job. But yeah, I would love if they just focused on the other character. You know, I mean, there's so much they could have done. You saw his growth a little bit in that movie. So if they focused on him in a sequel, I think that would be phenomenal. I have no idea what they're going to do though. But I can say in confidence, and maybe you know something that I don't know, Dana. I'm pretty sure Damson Idris is going to be the next Black Panther, because they have been trying to. People have been reporting of him showing up at different events. There was an event they had for Black Panther, some type of museum type of event, and he was there with the other cast of people that have been in the movie. So I don't know what that means, but I'll just say his career is on the rise. So I don't know if he's going to have time to be a part of this show. It just depends on in what capacity. We have to wait and see.
It was a fashion show, and everyone Black in Hollywood was there. So leave it alone. I don't know. I don't know. I don't want it. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I was always wanting an unknown to be Black Panther, but we'll see what ends up happening. And if it's Damson, I mean, I don't have anything negative to say about it. I'm happy about it either way, but I don't want him, but I'd be happy if he's in it. So I don't know. I genuinely don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But the future's bright, kid. He'll be all right. As Kendrick says, I want Kendrick in Snowfall.
Yeah, that's somebody that they should get involved in this. He's already been in Power. He represents the West Coast, so yeah, that's a very obvious choice. And he's also a very well-known rapper. I mean, that would be a great pickup for him to be a part of this. Again, I'm not expecting him to be a regular on the show, but if he has a cameo, one episode, I think that would be pretty good. That'll get people to watch for sure. So,
I completely agree. And Bubbles, I call him Bubbles. He's not Bubbles, but his character from Power was very memorable. So even in that one little scene, we're like, puppy, 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 come over here. Can I take your shoes? Eh? So yeah, no, I loved it. So we'll have to just wait and see for the rest of the thing. So that's kind of everything that we know so far. So we just wanted to drop in and give you that little piece of El Nuzo for the El
Mhm.
Dia. And we're very excited for things to come. So fingers crossed that FX acknowledges our existence, because that was
Oh,
something to go through.
uh-oh,
So I'm
uh-oh.
trying now. I was trying. I got my pinky toe in the door with FX. It's like I'm black. It was like, we don't care. But yeah. So that has been us talking about it. I've been your host, Dana, joined by Mr. Richard Bailey Jr. And we will see you next time for Power. I
Yes,
saw the Power. We're waiting for him to see the Power. I saw
yes.
the Power. Because review is over, I can say, hey. So stay tuned for that.
Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh.
Mm, the teaser. So
Yes.
thank you, everyone.